Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that you are all having a great weekend so far. Students, in this class we are looking at an IELTS speaking part 2, and the topic is meeting a person that makes you feel nervous. Welcome Phuong, hi Patek, hi Karem, nice to see our members in the class ready to learn. This is a members chat class. Everybody is welcome to watch. It's a good idea to watch this class because after this class we will have a speaking part 3 class, and speaking part 3 is always connected to speaking part 2, so these two classes will have relevant topics. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, definitely visit us there. For the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. Those websites have helped thousands of IELTS students get higher band scores, and these are the websites that we use during these live classes for our materials, textbooks, audio materials, speaking interactions. So definitely check us out there and join our premium courses. This is our general IELTS website here with the green background. To join our premium package, simply just click this red button that's right above my head there. And it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We are an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS Test Registration Center certified British Council agents, so you are in excellent hands with us. For the academic IELTS, it's aehelp.com. It's this blue background, and again, you just want to click this big red button right here that's above my head. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and we've got a new discount code for you. This weekend. It's Super 9, because of course that's the best band score you can get in the IELTS. It's a band 9. So the secret code is Super 9. You click continue and you get 10% off the price. Again, it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Welcome Akash. Nice to have you in our group of members. Thank you for joining. And make sure to send me an email so I can send you those perks, those videos, and make sure to request some topics in the classes. Students, it pays to be a member, and I see that Akash just joined us now, so that is fantastic. Again, you can download and install our apps on your phone from your app store. Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. Our apps will link to the websites, so you learn from the same account, whether you're using the web app or the phone app. And you can follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp, GIELTS Help. On Instagram is where we post our live class schedules along with our YouTube channel. If you have questions, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. That's my name. At aehelp.com, or admin, like administrator, at aehelp.com. So those email addresses is where you can contact us with your questions about IELTS or about English, immigration, learning abroad. We're happy to help. Students, we've got our schedule for the next week as well. So October 8th to the 16th, pay attention to that. I will be posting this on the YouTube channel and on Instagram as well. So we've got speaking part 2 right now with our members. Everybody should watch. Then we've got speaking part 3. Everybody will be able to join the chat. Tomorrow we have a lesson, we have a class, but it's not on YouTube. It's on Lighthall. That will be on Lighthall. Lighthall is a new platform for live teaching. It's really cool. It's real time. You can do video and audio interactions with me. Then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no class, and then I'm back for speaking part 1 on the 13th. That's Thursday, and then we've got a full week of classes, so definitely pay attention to that. And make sure to join those classes. We released a new video 36 minutes ago on YouTube. It's a speaking practice video. We have these really cool karaoke style videos where you get to practice your speaking with karaoke subtitles. So check that out. Members, did any of you see that video before this class to practice? Akash says mirror speaking. Yes, that's right. Akash, I just put the link into the chat as well. Cool. So you checked that out, Akash. Did you like it? I hope you did. It's really useful if you have nobody to speak English with in the moment. Then using one of these videos to just feel like you're speaking English to me is a great way to build your vocabulary, your fluency. Akash says yes. That's fantastic. Okay, great. All right, everybody. So subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button, get notifications. We're here to help you. Our goal is for you to do your best on the IELTS exam, because that will definitely be to your advantage. A high IELTS band score is not only good for work and for school and for immigration, but it's also good to just have on your profile, and so people know that you are an advanced user of English and a great communicator. So you want that high score. You want that high score. It's like a trophy. All right, students. So IELTS speaking part 2. It's a cue card. Speaking has 3 parts. Part 1, the examiner will ask you questions on a topic about you, hobbies, sports, food you like. And then after about 5 minutes, they will introduce part 2 like this. That is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to look at these questions, think about your answers. You can take notes in this 1 minute time if you wish. You have your note paper there and your pencil, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. Talk about a person you were nervous to meet. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. And that's exactly how they introduce it. Okay, they will read to you the topic question, and then they will start your 1 minute preparation time. That 60 seconds, okay, for you to prepare is very important to use wisely, all right? Because your decisions during that 1 minute preparation time will have a big impact on your overall performance for your speaking section and your overall band score. Okay, remember what I said earlier, speaking part 3 is connected to speaking part 2. So it's critical that you focus and you come up with some good ideas and good notes during the 1 minute preparation time. Okay. So the first step, and we're going to practice this, members, today. You're going to be practicing this as well. What we are going to do right now is I will show you the strategies and the steps needed to come up with a great answer for your Part 2 cue card that will help your fluency, your grammatical range accuracy, your coherence especially. And it will also give you a lot of thoughts and ideas for speaking Part 3. So as soon as the examiner says, okay, your 1 minute preparation time begins now, you basically begin. You get to work. Okay, there's just like, it's like step, 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 and you get to work. And step 1 is you read the questions really carefully. Okay, don't rush. Read them carefully. pay attention to the details in the question. So read with me here, members and viewers. Okay. So talk about a person you were nervous to meet. You should say, who is this person? When you met this person? Where you met him or her? Why did you meet with the person? And what made you worried? Okay, so you need clarity. You need to make sure you understand the questions. If you don't get them the first time you read them again. You should never start speaking for part 2 without having clarity on the questions, okay? So you've read the questions, and right away in your next step, so in step 2, you identify the category. Okay, so in the IELTS part 2, there's 5 possible categories that the questions focus on. It's either going to be a person, a place, an object, an event, or an idea. And each of these has a specific set of information that's important to include for clarity. Okay, in this case, what do you think? What is it? Hi, Sarah. Welcome back to the class. I saw your email, Sarah, and that is fantastic. First of all, congratulations. I haven't had time to reply to your email, Sarah, but those are some great scores. You should be proud of those scores, and I will send you a detailed email in response. So that was really great. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's do this. So this is a person. So when you're talking about a person for part 2 cue card, then you should include their appearance, their personality, plus actions. So if you say that the person is kind, you should say that they always volunteer to help elderly people on the weekend do grocery shopping, right? So personality backed up by action, and you always want to give a little bit about the appearance just so your listener can picture, they can imagine this individual, okay? Sarah, a quick interesting question. What was your part 2 topic? What did they ask you about, just for fun? I'm sure for this class, being on speaking part 2, I'm sure some of our viewers and members might be interested. So what was your part 2 cue card that you got? So what was the topic? Was it a person, place, object, event, or was it an idea that you had to talk about? Okay, in this case, we're doing person. Oh, okay, Sarah says, I still have an hour and a half for my speaking part. Oh, I see, Sarah. Okay, so you haven't done the speaking yet. Okay, I see. Right, so it's good practice for you right now. Okay, well, hopefully you get a person. Okay. Akash says, I think she still has to do the speaking part. Yes, I see that now, Akash. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's get back to point here. So we're talking about a person now, and the tense, right? So what tense? Are we talking about the past, the present, or the future here? Sarah says, yes, I didn't do it yet. I'm trying to get some ideas before I go. Sure, Sarah. Yeah, well, you're in the right place. Here it was talk about a person you were nervous to meet, right? So the key here is were. So it's definitely the past tense. That's right, Fuang. That's right, Sarah. So we're talking about the past here. Okay, so in the past. So we want to use past. We want to use present perfect. for this response, right? Okay, and then step 3 is to come up with some ideas. Okay, so think of at least 2 to 3 ideas. So a person that made me nervous. Okay, students, so it might be difficult to think of a real situation for this, but of course, in the IELTS, it doesn't matter if you imagine or make up your answer, if it's a real person. If you can think of a real person, great. If not, that's fine. So, tell me about a person that made you feel nervous. Who are some people that we meet with in life that might make us nervous the first time that we meet? Give me some ideas, students, and maybe you can think of some real people. Okay, Sunantha says an examiner. What kind of examiner? Okay. Sunantha, be a little bit more specific. Fuang says, my high school math teacher. Okay, sure. And Fuang, it's good that you're being specific. So, Mr. Num, high school math teacher. Sure. Okay. For examiners, Sunantha, examiners is a good one. Think about what kind of examiner. Okay. Okay, Akash says college dean. Sure, yep. So the head of the department is usually the dean of the department. They're called the dean, D-E-A-N, so college dean. Okay, sure. When I think of the examiner, Sunantha, I would think of maybe like a driving examiner. I know I was pretty nervous. I'm not sure how many of you have your driving licenses, but when you do your driver's test, yeah, for me anyway, I definitely remember that was one of the people in my life that made me quite nervous. Sunantha says, Adrian, the IELTS examiner. I probably wouldn't choose that, Sunantha, because it could get awkward. Yeah, Masala says job interview. Yes, absolutely. So, boss at job interview. Okay. Now, think outside the box. How about when you're traveling? Okay, when you're traveling, who might make you nervous? Okay. And getting some good ideas in part 2 is absolutely key. It's very important, everyone, that you choose a good idea for part 2. One of the first kind of mistakes that many students make is they just pick the first person that comes to mind or their first idea, and then they go with it. And often, if we think a bit more carefully, we can come up with some better ideas. Okay. Akash says ticket collector. Sure. Okay. So, ticket agent on the train. Sure. Okay, Sarah says a police agent at the airport. Yeah, so that would be a customs officer at the airport. All right, sure. Absolutely. Akash says immigration officer. Yeah, immigration officer or customs officer. Yeah. Akash says, I foresee this in my future. All right. Well, Akash, you know what? Let's go with a customs officer because hopefully by talking about it, many of you will not be so nervous once you get to that point where you're traveling and you meet that customs officer. Okay. So they're called customs officer or immigration officer. Both are okay in this case. Usually we refer to them as customs officer. They're called the customs. Okay. All right. Masala says a stranger who sat next to me during my train journey. Yeah, that could be tricky to talk about, Masala, because you don't know them. So let's go with a customs officer. Okay. All right, and now that we have this person, in our next step, step 4, we want to take some useful notes. Okay, sure. So give me a little bit about the appearance, right? Remember, you want to introduce the person, and let's just make it up. So maybe they were a large person, 6'3" inches. Okay, so big person, 6'3", like 120 kilos. Okay, big beard, dark eyes. Let's make them look really kind of intimidating, right? So even as we get into personality plus action, intimidating, right? Size. Maybe their size and their voice was quite intimidating. Sarah says a fat one. Okay, could be. All right. What else? So give me some information. So I think a lot of you have probably done some traveling and have maybe had to deal a little bit with customs. Customs these days especially can be a little bit intimidating with all of the security checks. So what kinds of personality characteristics do customs officers have, and how can we see that? So what is it that makes you kind of scared in the situation? Give me some notes. Give me some useful notes that we can use for our 1 to 2 minutes speaking. And Akash, if you're thinking about your college dean, or if some of you are thinking about some other ideas, that's good too. Take some notes, because in a few minutes I will be giving you a chance to practice your speaking part 2. Okay? Okay. So formal clothes. Okay, uniform. Yeah. All right. Absolutely. Okay, so sounded angry. Yeah. All right, give me some actions too, right? So what is he actually doing? So serious looking, right? And when you're thinking about serious, Karem, you might want to think about serious decides my future, right? So your future is in the hands of the customs officer in some ways. If they feel that you did not take some important step in the process of travel, they can basically tell you to go back on the plane and go back home, right? So they have the power to influence your future in a major way, and that makes them very, very intimidating, right? So when you're thinking about this answer, right, you want to keep this part in mind, that a person you were nervous to meet, right? So when you're thinking about your useful notes, you want to consider, why does this person make me nervous? Okay, so when you answer the why question, right, and this is, we haven't talked about this in previous classes, but it's a really smart way to think about your notes, right, is they can give me a fine. They can send me back home. Or in a very scary situation, they can send me to jail. Right? When can the customs officer give you a fine? So when do customs officers give fines? What kind of, anybody know the situation? Okay. Or when can they send you back home? Anybody know the situation where they can do that? Or when can they send you to jail? Oh, geez, I hope that never happens. Yeah, so Akash says they can send you back home if you're missing documents. Like a visa, right? When I was traveling in Europe and I was traveling through Macedonia, we had to go back to Greece because we didn't know that Canadians need a visa to go through Macedonia. And the customs officers made us really nervous because they had guns and they basically said, you're Canadian, you need a visa. You don't have a visa, go back. And we had to go back and then go around another way. So yeah, so Sarah says if they find anything illegal in your luggage. Yeah, if they find something illegal in your luggage that's not supposed to be there, right? And then here you might remember that, okay, this customs officer was very thorough, right? Searched all my luggage. Okay, so we're just kind of visualizing this, and you know, by talking about this, hopefully if this happens to you in the future, you're not going to be freaking out. They can give you a fine if you have something that you're not supposed to bring into the country, like food, right? The customs officer, when I was coming back from Europe last year, got so angry at me and almost gave me a $1,300 fine because I had a slice of pizza from the airplane in my carry-on luggage. I didn't want to throw it out. I thought I'd eat it later, and this customs officer just about exploded because of course the dog was able to smell the food in my carry-on, and they're like, you can't bring that into Canada. And I'm like, what? So for those of you who are traveling to Canada, remember you cannot have food in your luggage when you come into the country. And yes, they have dogs that smell the food. So that happened to me. And I was like, what? It's just a small slice of pizza. So yeah, that happened. All right. Yeah, so Masala says 5 hours for questions. Yeah, okay, sure. And maybe some strange questions, right? Like, what was the name of your grade 5 teacher? They can ask you some pretty weird questions, those customs officers. Okay, I think we have good information here, students. So we're kind of, you know, we're ready. And again, in that 1 minute preparation time, some of you are maybe thinking like, oh, I can't really think of all of that. That's fine, as long as you go through these steps and think about as many of these ideas as possible. Now, before your 1 minute is finished, there's one last step that's really important. You should never forget this. What's that last step? So Sarah, for your speaking, whatever that, you know, whatever the topic might be, don't forget this very important step. You should definitely have this step, Sarah. Okay. Yeah, Karem, exactly. Write your first sentence. So, okay, sure. So I'm going to do that, and this is important because it helps your fluency. It helps you to start right away. It helps you to focus and target the topic of the cue card. Okay, so a person who made me very nervous was the customs officer when I was traveling to Germany for 6 months to study in college for an exchange program. Sure. Okay. So I'm just making this up. I'm going to go with Germany in this case. So a person who made me very nervous was the customs officer when I was traveling to Germany for 6 months to study in college for an exchange program. So I'm just making it up. Okay. Yes, Sarah, you can absolutely paraphrase nervous with anxious. Yes, and it's a good paraphrase. Very anxious. In this case, that's a perfect paraphrase for nervous. Absolutely. Okay, and then once you have this first sentence, you're good to go. So the examiner will say, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. And then you begin. You say, a person who made me very anxious was the customs officer when I was traveling to Germany for 6 months to study in college for an exchange program. Okay, now I want to continue here, and I want to create the story, right? So part 2 should be like a 1 minute, 90 second, 2 minute story. Should be more like 90 seconds, 2 minutes. If you're speaking only for a minute, it's usually too short. So when the examiner says you have 1 to 2 minutes to speak, they give most candidates at least 90 seconds. They will only stop you at 1 minute if you don't speak. Okay? Masala says, I clearly remember the person who made me anxious was the customs officer at Toronto International Airport. Very good, Masala. So not I have greatly remembered, okay, but I clearly remember. Okay, a person who made me very anxious was the customs officer at Toronto International Airport. Sure. So here I'll continue with something similar. I arrived at Frankfurt International Airport at the end of August with my luggage and carry-on bags, and I had to go through customs and declare my stay. Okay. I was met by a large man in a uniform, about 6'3" and 120 kilos. Just his size already was really intimidating and made me nervous. He also had a deep and strict voice, which I could just feel in my bones. When he was asking me questions for an hour. Okay, so here I'm thinking about the personality backed up by action, and I'm visualizing, and even though this didn't actually happen to me, so I didn't actually get questioned by a customs officer in Germany, I can take a real life situation and I can just create it, right? So I can visualize it, I can see myself arriving at the airport, and I think most of us have heard enough stories and seen enough movies that we can kind of picture this situation with the customs officer. Okay, members, what I want you to do while I'm giving this part 2 response, this sample here, it's 2 parts. Okay, 1, you can write example sentences for this response. I will look at them and give you feedback. And 2, you can also prepare some ideas for your own speaking, because in a few minutes, as I said, you will have a chance to practice your part 2 response when we interact through the website. Okay, so we will actually take volunteers and you will be able to speak with me. Okay, so Masala says the incident happened about 2 years ago when I immigrated to Canada from India for my master's study to specialize in chemistry. Okay, now remember, Masala, don't go off topic and be careful with your grammar. You can't say this incident was happened. It's not passive, Masala, it's active. Okay, you're actively doing this. This actively happened 2 years ago. All right, so careful not to use the passive voice incorrectly, because that's really awkward when you do that. Okay, so as I said, members, I'm looking at what you're doing. Okay. So maybe something like this. This was my first time traveling alone, and I knew that the customs officer had the power to make my life really difficult. If he were, notice the conditionals here, if he were to find any illegal items in my luggage, such as food or alcohol, he could give me a big fine, like 1,000 euros, or he could even just put me back on a plane and send me back home. Okay. All right. So I'm moving along nicely, and I'm explaining to the IELTS examiner who this person is and why they made me feel nervous. Okay. Now, while I'm doing this, and Sarah, here's another really important tip for you, okay? Don't repeat yourself. So don't just keep saying, so the customs officer made me nervous, so the customs officer made me nervous. Instead, what you want to do is you want to continuously check your notes, okay? So appearance, big beard, dark eyes. Did I talk about that? Maybe I can give a sentence where I can say his dark eyes were just staring into my soul, okay? It felt like he was staring into my soul with his dark eyes the whole time I was speaking to him. Okay? So you use your notes. Okay? And then uniform, thorough search through all my luggage. We haven't used that. Okay. So I think he felt that I was anxious, and maybe he thought I had something to hide. Because he searched through all of my luggage. I wasn't sure what he was looking for, but it definitely stressed me out. Here's a really funny idiom for all of you. I was sweating bullets. Okay? I was sweating bullets means I was really nervous. Okay? When you hear me use new language like this, you can just repeat, right? So I was sweating bullets. Where this idiom comes from is you basically have the person is really nervous, okay, and they're sweating bullets. Bullets means like big beads of sweat. So you're not just little sweat, but you've got like big drops of sweat coming off of your head. It means you're sweating bullets, okay? All right. Okay. And then look at the questions, right? So look at the part 2 questions. So make sure that you answer all of them. Who is this person? Okay, so talk about a person you were nervous to meet. Okay, customs officer. Who is this person? Okay, they're the customs officer going into the country. Good. When you met this person during your trip to Germany. Good. Where you met them, him or her, at the airport. Good. Why did you meet with the person and what made you worried? Good. It's kind of, I can tell that I've answered all of the questions. So at this point, when I know that I answered all of the questions, okay, then I can wrap up and finish what I'm saying. So I can show the examiner, the IELTS examiner, that I realize that I've completed the questions on the card and I have this concluding sentence. So Sarah, this is another really good tip for you, is just include this concluding sentence so the examiner knows that you're done. So I can say, fortunately, after about an hour with this customs officer, he released my bags and sent me on my way. For sure, he was one of the most nerve-wracking people that I've ever met. Nerve-wracking is someone that's making you nervous. Okay, so all right. So there's my response. And when you're practicing this, make sure at home to always review and record. So review, record, and listen. You should always be recording your part 2 practice sessions, students, so that you can listen to them, correct them, make them better, change the information. So, get feedback on your speaking, right? Let's go through this together, and then I will give you a chance to practice this with me. Talk about a person you were nervous to meet. Who is this person? When you met this person, where you met him or her, why did you meet with this person, and what made you worried? Okay. All right. Here we go. Repeat after me, and I will answer all of those questions that I see in the chat. So your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. A person who made me very anxious was the customs officer when I was traveling to Germany for 6 months to study in college for an exchange program. I arrived at Frankfurt International Airport at the end of August with my luggage and carry-on bags. And I had to go through customs and declare my stay. I was met by a large man in a uniform, about 6'3" and 120 kilos. Just his size already was really intimidating and made me nervous. He also had a deep and strict voice, which I could just feel in my bones when he was asking me questions for an hour. This was my first time traveling alone, and I knew that the customs officer had the power to make my life really difficult. If he were to find any illegal items in my luggage, such as food or alcohol, he could give me a big fine, like €1,000, or he could even just put me back on a plane and send me home. I felt like he was staring into my soul with his dark eyes the whole time I was speaking to him. I think he felt that I was anxious, and maybe he thought I had something to hide because he searched through all of my luggage. I wasn't sure what he was looking for, but it definitely stressed me out. I was sweating bullets. Fortunately, after about an hour with this customs officer, he released my bags and sent me on my way. For sure, he was one of the most nerve-wracking people that I've ever met. Okay, if that was a bit fast for some of you, it's okay. This lesson is recorded. Remember, you can go back, check this part, practice repeating and speaking. Okay? All right? so you can go over it again. So Sarah says, just imagine if I had this same question. Jesus, the chances of that are extremely low, Sarah. I think I've only had it once in my 10 years where somebody was like, I got the same question that was in the live class. So it's pretty rare. Karem says, I was wondering something about the strategy. Probably you missed my message above. Let me see, Karem. For the real scenario, which steps should we write on paper? Okay, Karem, in the real scenario, the only steps that you're writing on paper are these here, okay? So what I'm underlining right now. So you're just writing these details, okay? You're writing the personality action, and you're writing your first sentence. That one there, okay? That's all. So let me copy this out just so you realize, because some of you are like, well, I can't write all that in 1 minute. But you can write all of this. Okay. So Karem, in the real scenario, in the real IELTS, that's all you write in the 1 minute, roughly about that much. Okay. 6'3", 120, big beard, dark eyes, intimidating, size, voice, uniform, angry, serious, decides my future, search my luggage, 2 hours questions. Okay. And then a person who made me very anxious was the customs officer when I was traveling to Germany. And you might not even need to write for 6 months. Just stop here, right? So to Germany. Okay. And you can do that in 1 minute as long as you're thinking quickly and you're staying calm. Good question, Karem. Okay. All right, students, so you can volunteer for speaking. Members, I will be looking for you in this next part. Okay, so go to the website, go to aehelp.com, log into your My Student account. Sarah, make sure you make it to your exam on time. I don't know how much time you have, but Sarah, please try to volunteer right away if you have some time so that you can practice a little bit. Okay, click on Student Partner Speaking and then make sure your microphone is working. You will see my name in the list. My name will be Master. And then click on the blue envelope and send me a message. Say, can I try, or I want to volunteer. Let me show you what I mean, everybody. So go to our website, aehelp.com. Okay, join the website, the premium package. You can join with this big red button, or you can try it with the green one. Okay, once you do that, you go to your My Student account, and then you click on this Student Partner Speaking. Okay. For premium users, there's lots of goodies, computer-based practice exams, a full online course. So there's lots and lots of goodies. Okay, but right now we're going to Student Partner Speaking. And here you will see a list of people that are here to practice. You will see me in here as well. You will see me as Master. Okay. And the little blue envelope that's beside everybody's name, that's what you click for me, and then you say, can I volunteer? Okay. All right. So, I'm just trying to see, Sarah, if you're in here, because you said your speaking test is in 30 minutes now, or 40 minutes maybe? At the beginning you said an hour and a half, right? So if you're in here, you can maybe give it a try, or maybe you're already gone. Tears. You just realized, oh, I got to get to my speaking exam. Okay, well, let's reach out to somebody. I'm going to put on my ears. Okay. And then we'll reach out to some of our members here. Again, it pays to be a member because in these members chat classes, members get first chance for volunteering. Akash just joined, so let's give Akash a chance. Me. Okay, are you ready, Akash? Let's see. There's Sarah. Okay, Sarah, hang in there. After Akash, I'll get you, okay? All right. Hi, Akash.
Hello.
Hi, Akash. I can hear you clearly.
Second, I'm muting my YouTube. Okay. Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, Aileen. How are you?
I am doing good, Akash. All right, you just became a member, if I'm not mistaken,
Um,
right?
yeah, yeah. Actually,
Awesome.
I had a previous session in Light Hall last Sunday, I think so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's practice this speaking part too. So, what you can do is you can try a similar answer that we're doing right now, so customs officer, or if you want, you can try a different answer. It's up to you,
Uh,
okay?
sure. Actually, I have never been to an airport in my life till now. So I would like to speak about the dean of my college.
Sure, that will work. Okay, I will start you off, all right?
Okay.
So,
Sure. Sure.
um, now we will begin part two. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to look at these questions, think about your answers, then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. Talk about a person you were nervous to meet. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
The person who made me really nervous was none other than my college dean of computer science department. I saw him for the first time at the inauguration ceremony for the freshers that were enrolled on the course for that year. This incident was 3 weeks into my first year of college in Kanchipuram. I was standing outside of my class at the recess hour, as the classroom was without a lecturer, so the students were out. Our classroom is parallelly located to the dean's room. So the dean was present inside in his room and was ticked off by the noise from our class. He stormed out into the corridor and saw me standing outside of the class. So as the dean was, as he approached me on the time, uh, he was 5'11" with a mustache and a clean-shaven beard and formal attires with black shoes. As he approached me fiercely and asked about the lecturer who was missing the class. I was anxious and I watched him stormed out, and the mustache really intimidated me. And as I was sweating bullets, I took a deep breath and replied that it was a class of math and the lecturer was on leave and have informed the math department and they are sending a substitute lecturer. This is really an anxious incident for me because as a dean of my college, he can make a fine if I'm not wearing an ID card or any other things that I'm missing for the day on the college.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there. And we will now go on to part three. For this part, I will ask you some questions related to your response and the topic of part two. Okay, Akash, not bad. So make sure, first of all, to have some water with you when you're in your IELTS so that you're not
Yeah,
clearing your throat so much. Okay,
sure, sure.
because
Actually,
that will
I'm in a bit
interfere.
of cold, so
I
it's
see.
happening.
Yeah, if you have a cold, you have to inform them because in the IELTS, especially with COVID, if you're coughing and sneezing, they might send you home. So be careful about that, okay?
Yeah, sure, sure, Adrian, sure.
All right. It's just a tip because sometimes people get surprised like, "Oh, I just got something."
Oh, okay,
Okay, all right.
okay.
So your response was quite good. I would say that it's an easy 6.5 to 7 at least for sure, maybe even
Okay.
more. I think your speaking is quite strong. I think you should be able to get a 7.5. What I would recommend is shorten your introduction. So that's what happens with a lot of candidates is they spend a lot of time introducing their story,
Okay.
and before they can get to some of the really key information, they run out of time. And that's kind of what you did, where you had this big introduction, and then the most important information was at the very end when you started to
Oh,
say
yes.
that the dean has a lot of control and he can find me. And that's what you should put at the beginning of your speech. So you should
Okay.
say, the reason the dean was so intimidating is because he can affect my studies. He can even expel me from school, or he can give me a fine, or give me a different kind of punishment for not being in class or for disturbing other students. So that's what you should say. But I did like a lot of your sentences. Like the mustache was really intimidating. I thought was pretty funny. So. Okay, so good job, Akash. Keep it up. Just
Sure,
remember the key information, put it closer to the beginning of your response, okay?
Okay.
All right,
Actually, I
keep it
was
up.
really nervous about the band score, so I'm good now. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. So at least a 6.5 for sure, okay? But I think you can
Sure.
get even higher. All right, Akash, I hope
Sure.
you feel better. Have a tea for sure, okay?
Sure, Yasin. Thanks.
Okay, bye, Akash.
Bye.
All right, Akash, give him a thumbs up. Yeah, he's suffering with some kind of a throat cold for sure. I can empathize. All right, Sarah, let's see if you still have some time. Hi, Sarah. Are you ready? Okay, so again, students, the tip there with Akash as well is make sure that you talk about the key information early on, okay?
Can you hear me?
I can. Hi, Sarah. How are you doing?
Hello.
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear, Sarah. How
I'm
are
doing
you?
great. How about
Awesome.
you?
I'm doing good, and I'm happy that you said you're
I'm
doing
doing
great
great.
with the IELTS exam coming up. You finished the listening, reading, writing, so you're done with that. You feel good about it, I'm sure, which is great.
Yeah.
Good. And now you have your speaking. How soon is your speaking exam?
It's it's in around like 20 minutes.
Okay, in 20 minutes. Did you register already? Did you check in?
Yeah.
Okay, because you have to check in
Yes,
at
I
least.
did, but I'm
Okay.
really nervous about it.
You don't have to be, sir. Your English is good. You'll be fine. And I'm here to help you anyway. So, okay, well, yeah, so it could be about a person. It could be about an object. Just be ready for whatever the topic is. Don't overthink it. Remember those tips that I gave you. So when you see the question, the first step is to think of at least 2 or 3 ideas. Make sure you choose the idea that you think it's easy to talk about. You're not going to repeat yourself. There's lots of information, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Sarah, let's get into this. Again, you can talk about a customs officer or another person. I will leave it up to you, and then I will give you some feedback. Okay? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So talk about a person you were nervous to meet. Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
A person that I met and made me really anxious was a client in the restaurant that I used to work in. He was a white man, 6.5 tall, and that he was preparing for a New Year party for his family. He was a VIP customer at the restaurant that I worked in, and I was supposed to be the waiter that is gonna work with him to make the party succeed. What really made me worried about it is that I made a mistake while writing the names of the of the of the visitor of that party. I was really worried that he might be angry about this, but he was a really good person and he passed it, and we worked so hard to correct the problem, and the day passed so well.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there. And we will now continue with part 3. I will ask you some questions related to your response and some questions connected to this topic. Okay, all right. So not bad, Sarah, not bad. I would say it's about 6.5 to 7, 7 on the higher end, 6.5 on the lower end, but I think you can turn it into a 7 very easily. I think you spoke a little bit shortly, so I would give you a bit more time and kind of look at you like, are you sure you're finished here? Okay, I've got an idea of what you're saying. You said that a person that you met and made you really anxious was a client at a restaurant where you used to work. Nice grammar, nice grammatical range. You explained that he was preparing a New Year's party for his family and he was a VIP at the restaurant. You were the waitress. If you go gender neutral, it's a server. If you go with genders, then male is a waiter. Usually, and for women, we say waitress. Still there, Sarah? I think you're at the exam center. Right?
I'm sorry.
You're at the exam center, I'm guessing, and you're probably using data. Okay, Sarah, really important tip, okay? So here's a really important tip. Why did he make you nervous? Students, I really want you to think about the why question. I think we might have lost Sarah. Maybe she had to rush off to her exam. I'm not sure if Sarah's still there, but I'm pretty sure we lost Sarah. That's okay. Sarah, if you're still watching, still listening, if you're in the chat, think about the why question. So, members, why would I be really nervous as a waiter with a customer? Okay, so what could be the situation that could happen? And I think this was missing for me as the examiner. So I was afraid that I would lose my job, right? He would make a scene, okay, in the restaurant. Okay, I could lose my reputation. Okay, so Sarah, just as a final tip, when you're going into your exam, really think about those why questions, okay? And the best of luck in your test that's coming up very, very soon. Hopefully you'll be able to share with us your experiences a little bit later on, maybe even in the next class in speaking part 3, right? So students, think about those whys. Always think about those whys. Okay, why? Why? Okay, and Masala says, best of luck. Good luck, Sarah, in the test. I'm sure you will do just fine. Okay. All right, let's look for somebody else here. Let's see if Patek is available. Patek, are you ready? Patek is also one of our members. And Patek was in the class early on. So Patek, are you ready? I don't think we've ever had somebody join us that close to their speaking interview. All right, as Sarah, so I hope she made it and everything's okay.
Hello.
Hi, Patek, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Patek, you're in Uzbekistan, correct?
No, I'm in Turkey.
Oh, you're in Turkey, so incorrect. All right. Okay, Patek, and how was your weekend so far?
Well, it was a bit busy. I was studying, but it's good.
All right. Are you ready for this part 2? Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we're nervous, and this is kind of a tip for everybody who I've spoken to so far and for the students out there, it's important to consider consequence, right? So oftentimes the reason why we are nervous when we speak to certain people is because we're worried about certain consequences, right? So outcomes. And it's really important to include that piece of information. So whether you decide to go with a customs officer, Patek, in this response, like what we're practicing, or if you choose to go a different direction, like Sarah with a client at a restaurant, or Akash, like the dean of a department, make sure that you consider the consequence of what's making you nervous, okay?
Okay.
All right. So here we go. I will start you off. So talk about a person you were nervous to meet. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Okay. Your time is up. Please begin speaking.
When I think about a person that I was nervous to meet, my constitutional law professor comes to my mind. I met him when it was my first year at university, in his office in the faculty building. I had to meet him because of a presentation that I was preparing. I had to ask him for his advice, but I was very nervous, and the reason for that was because he was a professor with a very confident voice, and during the class he would be very he would teach the lesson like he knows everything about it. He's very intellectual, and that made me nervous back then because it was my first year at university, and if I don't behave the way I should in front of him, I thought he would be angry with me, so I was very nervous to meet him. But when I went to his office and asked him the questions, it turned out different. But before that, it was very scary.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there. And now I will ask you some questions related to your response. All right, Patek, so he's a intelligent, confident person. He makes you feel nervous. He is in a position of power, right? So that makes you nervous as well. When we talk to our professors about school projects, because you said that you talked to him about a presentation that was coming up, what makes us nervous? And I think a lot of us have this experience. I know I had this experience speaking to some of my psychology professors in school. So yes, their intellectual superiority, if you will, definitely is intimidating. But it's not just that. So when I spoke to my professors about presentations and projects and exams, there was another reason that I felt nervous at times. Why would we feel nervous? And I think this is missing again. So think about the consequence.
Probably to the possibility of hearing something we don't want to hear from them.
What is that?
Like a bad comment on the project, maybe.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's our greatest fear as students often is that for better lack of words, is that we sound stupid to the professor, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes students ask me, like, can I use the word stupid on the IELTS? Yeah, if you use it correctly in the context, absolutely. So you could say something like, I was scared.
I was going to say that actually, but
yeah, say it. Yeah, it's okay. So it's a good time to say this. I don't recommend cursing, but stupid is not really a curse in English. Especially when it's used correctly. I was scared that I would sound stupid to him, and that made me really nervous. Because of course, that could have negative impact on my mark for the presentation. And as a first-year student, I really did not want to get low grades so early in my studies. So I would have included something like this with the consequence of why you're so nervous, right? It's like, you know, for the examiner, content is important in the IELTS, and they want to hear the main reason. It's kind of like if you don't tell the examiner the main reason for a situation, whether it's a person that made you nervous or a person that made you happy, or an idea that you had which would change the world, if you don't explain the main reason why that is happening, the examiner in the IELTS might think that you're maybe avoiding it because you don't have the English to express yourself, right? So then your mark will kind of go down, and you don't want that, okay? So you definitely want to really focus on that main reason. What's the number one reason this person's making me nervous? Okay, Patek, does that make sense?
Okay. Yes. Okay.
All right. And yes, you can use natural language. Yes, you can use kind of informal language, like using the word stupid or idiot, as long as it's correctly used in context. Like, you know, I wouldn't say something like my stupid friend lost my bags. So I wouldn't use it in that kind of a way, right? As identifying somebody else as stupid. But in this context, it's absolutely okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Any questions about speaking part 2, Patek?
No, I don't have, I guess.
All right. If questions do come up, don't be shy to ask, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good job, Patek. Keep it up. Oh, by the way, Patek, your band score, it would be an easy 7 to 7.5, because you did have good English, and with a bit more content, you could be as high as a band 8. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, Patek.
Thank you. See you.
All right, thumbs up for Patek. By the way, Patek, beautiful pronunciation. I was not able to place your pronunciation as clearly being Turkish, so you have very good pronunciation. All right. Akesh, I wouldn't necessarily say that you can only address yourself with informal words like that. You could address a situation as being a kind of stupid situation as well. So it's not just restricting the situation to yourself, okay? But definitely be careful of how you use that word, okay? All right, Sarah. Yeah, no, that's okay. I get that you're at the exam center, and make sure you're paying attention, Sarah. Have a glass of water, just relax, take a few deep breaths. You'll do just fine, Sarah. Don't worry about it. The examiner, imagine you're talking to me, okay? So everybody was giving you a thumbs up and wishing you luck, Sarah. The piece of advice which I just gave to Patek, make sure you're thinking about the whys, right? So why the customer at the restaurant made you nervous, because you know you can lose your job, you can lose your reputation, maybe not get a good tip, gratuity for your hard work. So all of those make you nervous. Okay. All right. Let's see. Fong, there you are. Let's see if Fong wants to give this a try. Okay. Fong, are you ready to give part 2 a try? So all of our viewers were practicing part 2, and we will be doing part 3 a little bit later on here. So Fong says I'm ready. Good. Okay, Fong. Hello, Fong. Are you there? I know we talked before, so you should have a connection. Maybe check your microphone. Not sure what's going on. I don't hear you. And I know that you are in Vietnam. So Fuang, check out what's going on with your connection on your end. I don't hear you, so maybe something with your audio setup, your microphone. Check it out, and then get back to me. Okay. All right, Sanantha. Is in here. All right. Let's try Sanantha. Sanantha, are you ready? Let's give Sanantha a chance. Sanantha says yes. Hi, Sanantha.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
I am doing good. How was your weekend?
And pretty good. This is my birthday.
Oh, happy
Today.
birthday.
Thank you.
All right. Are you going to eat cake?
Now I just finished eating dinner.
Okay. And no cake?
No,
Oh,
I give me some cake.
I wish somebody send at least a cake emoji here to Sanantha. It's her birthday. Come on, where's the cake emojis? Okay. I will. I don't know how to. Here, let me see. Let's see. I'll send you a cake emoji here. I wonder if it'll give me. Oh, there you go. Masala just sent you a whole bunch of cake emojis. I never searched the emojis, so I don't know where they are. But oh, there it is. Yeah, there we go. Here. Just a sec. Cake emoji. Come on. Cake.
Thank you, everyone.
There you go. There's Akasha's get slices of what looks like cheesecake there. So good. All right. Well, happy birthday, Sanantha. I hope that you have an awesome day and an awesome weekend. Okay, so let's do this, Sanantha. You can choose to talk about a customs officer, what we were practicing earlier, or you can completely go a different direction. I will start you off, okay?
Okay.
All right. So talk about a person you were nervous to meet. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
The person that I have been okay. Let me think a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. The person that I have remembered that make me very nervous. She is the Under Secretary of Ministry of Labor. Last month I got interview and I have to present the project for working in for internship in a board, and I have to present how can I work or how can I decide the project for internship in Singapore. And after I finish my project 5 minutes presentation, the under secretary disrupt me and ask me serious question, and she with thick voice just make me so nervous. I have to explain and more and explain about information, but she angry with my my explanation, and she try to ask many questions, and she I really nervous because the person can be more give me less marks, and I can as evaluation that's so impact to my scholarship. If I cannot make her satisfied satisfied with my presentation,
Okay,
is
your
not
time is up.
possible.
I will stop you there. And now we will move on to part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question related to your response. So the examiner has to stop you at 2 minutes. Even if it's your birthday, they will be mean and interrupt you. I know it sounds terrible, and I felt terrible interrupting you on your birthday. I really wanted you to finish, but it has to be like the real exam. In the real exam, 2 minutes is up. You're done. They will interrupt you no matter what's going on. So the instruction for the examiner is 2 minutes maximum time. So don't give them any more time than 2 minutes. So they have to stop you. Okay, overall your band score is, I think, a 5.5 because you're a little bit less than fluent. So band 6 would be fluent, and here you're having some trouble continuously speaking and connecting your sentences. So I understand that you had a presentation at the Ministry of Labor, and this was a presentation for a scholarship. And the undersecretary was the person that made you nervous because they interrupted your presentation with some questions. Okay. Overall, you have a lot of good ideas. Overall, I can understand fairly clearly what you're telling me. However, there are a lot of grammatical mistakes and a lot of missing connectives. So you have to really connect your ideas in a bit of a clearer way. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to practice and practice again and practice again the same response. So when you have some time on the weekend, think about this response again and think about, how can I say this in a clearer, more connected way? Try writing it down, okay?
Okay.
All right. So use words like, after I finished my presentation. It's not after I finished. I think it was during your presentation. So after 5 minutes of presentation, the secretary interrupted me because she did not agree with what I was saying. This made me very nervous. As a result, I was afraid that I would lose my scholarship. So try to really connect like that, okay?
Okay.
All right. So more connections and really pay attention to grammar, Sanantha, okay? Lots of grammar practice, all right?
Okay.
All right, and eat some cake.
Adrian, and I want to request you to read my writing. I sent the email to you this morning for evaluate.
Okay, we'll take a look at it. Sure, we'll take a look at it. Usually it takes, we ask for about 24 hours. We get a lot of writing requests, but we'll definitely get to it, Sanantha. We'll take a look at it, okay?
Okay.
All right, Sanantha, have a lovely rest of the day, and again, a very, very happy birthday to you, okay?
Thank you.
Bye, Sanantha. All right. Thank you for all the cake, everybody. That was Sanantha, and hopefully Sarah is now having a great time in her official speaking exam. I think now is when she's probably in the speaking exam. Students, I'm going to take a break, and thank you, members, for all of the volunteering in this class and for answering this speaking part 2 about a person that made you nervous. Don't go too far, because in about 35 minutes, I will be back with speaking part 3. And speaking part 3 will be connected to this topic of meeting people, being nervous, being a bit anxious, and everybody will be able to join that chat. Until then, check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS, geltshelp.com for general IELTS. We were using aehelp.com's chat server for interactions. That's for IELTS students. This is what the website looks like, the home page. And you can join our premium IELTS package by clicking this big red button there. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Sunantha, Masala, Fwang, check out that microphone. Patek, thank you for volunteering. Karem, great contributions. Akash, welcome aboard. And hopefully I will see all of you soon, like I say, in about 35 minutes. For some more speaking questions. What an interesting day. Students who are calling from their exam center, students calling on their birthday, just lovely. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out for now from Victoria, but I will be back soon. Bye, everybody.